Hello, my name is Maud. I'm the host for the Black Metal Artist Promotional Agency YouTube channel. And today I'm here with Velix from Black Pestilence. And they hail from Calgary, and they have a very, very special sound that resonates with my story into death metal, black metal, noise, and punk music. So to me, it was just the right timing and a good opportunity to make that interview. Hello, Alex. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Okay, so let's dive into it. Your sound is an intriguing blend of black metal, punk, and noise. What motivated you to combine these distinct genres, and how do they help express the core message of Black Pestilence?
Well, pretty much I've always been a fan of black metal, but I always found it got really stagnant and stale, especially when I was first playing with some old black metal bands. I felt it was really hard to continue to, well, pretty much it was always the same thing over and over. And I've always been a fan of punk music, and I thought, well, let's blend these two genres together and to try something entirely new. And then the noise elements, well, I've always been a fan of electronic music as well. So it kind of seemed natural to try to merge, these three areas of my personality and my musical upbringing and just see how they fuse together. And, some things work, some things don't. But really, at the end of the day, it was just to create a genre and a style that would be uniquely myself and something that maybe people are not hearing.
Oh, and Black Pestilence's music addresses both social issues and satanism. How do you balance these seemingly disparate themes in your lyrics, and what drives you to explore them together?
Well, I've always had lyrics in regards to Satanism, and not theistic, it's Levian Satanism. So it's, it talk about carnality, society, humanity, and how we're all together in this. And obviously, with world events, life events, and all that, it's a lot easier to draw inspiration and tell stories from, what's actually happening in the world, and through the satanic lens, if you will, of an individual, carnal being.
And since your debut album Vice in 2009, how has your sound and thematic direction evolved up to your latest album, Caustic Wisdom? What milestones or turning points have been more significant?
I'd say stylistically, it's much different. Obviously, in the early days of Ice, I was young and it was a one-man project, and one of the main components to it was, I had blatantly programmed drums, and I tried to really push the raw black metal sound, and that obviously is not the case anymore. There's much more punk influence now, clear, clean quality production. And, now it's actually a full band. I still am the primary songwriter, but the two other members of the band, Davey and Dan, they definitely have really helped grow Black Pestilence, not just in the studio, but as well on the road and their performance live.
Do you have a creating process between you three?
It's mostly I'll still write the music at home, and then I will present it to them, and they tell me which ones are good, which ones are not. And then the ones that, they like, we'll go to the studio, we'll jam them out, and then determine how they will actually be recorded. But for the most part, it's, I'll write it and I'll present to them, and that's the process. And they'll kind of throw a little bit extra flair onto it in the studio.
Oh. And punk is often associated with rebellion and anti-establishment. sentiments, while black metal has its own dark philosophical core. How do you see these ideologies intersecting in Black Pestilence's music?
Well, I guess it really depends which ideologies per se. I mean, yes, traditionally punk music is anti-establishment and, fighting the system, which obviously those are similar lyrics that I've presented in Black Pestilence. But I'd say in regards to black metal, obviously you're going to have Satanism, but you might have, I don't know, theistic Satanism, or, obviously themes that are not cool. Like obviously you have NSBM, and that's not cool. So I have written songs in the past going against that, and that's obviously a type of ideology that should not be happening in black metal. So that's something that there will be a song on the next album basically saying, fuck off NSBM, right?
That's a nice touch. I really appreciate that. Black metal is not very often an inclusive milieu, so I appreciate this kind of statements.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
So yeah, your last album in 2023, Chaotic Wisdom, delves into intense themes and soundscapes. Can you share the creative process behind the album and what concepts of or ideas you sought to explore with it?
And when you say soundscapes, are you talking about the electronic samples per se?
Yes, and also I noticed something different. It's like the first song, just the intro, the beginning is like a door opening to the album, and I thought it was excellent. It's like an opening, a very good opening to your universe, to your music, and to me that's very strange. But that's small part at the beginning allowed me to be part of the album like completely.
Oh, awesome.
I felt like the door was open. I went into the album and I felt the music like, oh wow, it blew my mind.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, when it comes to the samples, usually I use a Native Instruments machine, and I've been doing sampling and programming electronics for many years now. It's usually the last process in the writing stage. I'll usually write all the instruments and the lyrics first, and then that'll kind of be like the icing on the cake, if you will. And I'll still, as I'm writing, I'll still make little notes that, there needs to be samples here, samples there. But in regards to that intro, I knew I wanted to have a short intro to kind of set the tone. And I kind of like your description as like a door or a gateway into the album. That's kind of cool. I just wanted something quick, not too long, so it doesn't lose people's attention, but something quick to kind of introduce you to it and, start off with a bang. And I don't know, I might do that on the next album. I'm not sure though, but I probably will now that you've mentioned it.
I think that was a very good idea. And how has being based in Calgary influenced your music, and what role has the local metal scene played in shaping Black Pestilence's identity over the years?
I'd say one of the main things here is that, we're not really known as a music city. And lately, I'd say now there's a lot more bands now that play here. There's a lot more bands that come through and tour through here. But, in the early days, it was a very small scene. And I know, and maybe that is where a lot of the punk influence comes in. But because we didn't have many bands, a lot of metal bands and punk bands had to play together. And it was just normal to have shows like that because there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of a scene to justify having two separate scenes. Now it's a little bit different. Now it's they're big enough scenes and big enough people that that we don't need to always combine. But I think that's kind of been a unique thing here in Calgary, is that punk and metal has kind of always fused and been one together.
Mm-mm. And your 2015 album Outsiders seems to embrace themes of defiance and individuality. How do you define outsider in the context of your music, and how does this concept resonate with your personal philosophy?
That one was actually a stance against a very small group of black metal elitists that used to be here, and they hated Black Pestilence. And so, they kind of made us feel like outsiders, which is fine. I don't care. I didn't want anything to do with them. And a lot of the lyrics on there was actually retaliation against them because, well, they're no longer around. Nobody cared. Nobody cares about them anymore. They're just kind of losers. And, well, Black Pestilence is still here and doing better than ever. So it was just kind of a coming to terms with it and just showing that, hey, you guys aren't all that. But so it was kind of more of a personal thing.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. That's very cool. So, as an unsigned and independent band, how important is the DIY ethos to your work? What challenges have you faced being independent for so long, and how has it impacted your creative freedom?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is that being a DIY band, you don't have the support from obviously any sort of stamp of approval. You don't have label support. You don't have, we have a little bit of booking agency support, but even that's kind of rough, or it's a one-time shot type deal. I'd say obviously those are the obvious issues and hurdles that we need to deal with, is that we're on our own, and we, nothing will really happen unless we do it ourselves. But I'd say, how does it affect creativity? I'd say it would be a positive that we don't owe anybody anything. We don't need to meet deadlines for anyone else other than our own deadlines. And we can release any type of music that we want and do whatever we want. So I'd say creatively it's a positive, but obviously the negative is, you don't have that stamp of approval. So a lot of promoters or booking agencies or whoever might say, well, you don't have the stamp of approval by a label or this or that. So they don't take you as seriously because you don't have a third party representing you.
Oh, I understand. I know the problem as well. So from album covers to live performances, how does Black Pestilence incorporate visual elements to complement the themes in your music? What role does symbolism play in your overall presentation?
Well, I guess the big obvious one would be, Black Pestilence has always been a visual band, with the masks and everything. So in regards to the whole masks thing, I don't know why I even started that. It was just kind of, I said I just wanted to do it. I've always been fascinated by masks, and I have a mask collection. So it's kind of been a thing that, it just made sense to wear a mask on stage, and that would be the gimmick. As far as album covers, to obviously you need to have something that represents the music, and when you find a really good artist who understands your music and can present it, to represent it visually, that's really key.
Yes, absolutely. And there's an evolution in the artworks for the album covers as well. And the last two albums are definitely the same artist, right?
Yep, they are.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Juha Vruma from Finland.
Oh, wow. Excellent. And so as a band that has been active for over a decade, what excites you about the future of Black Pestilence? Are there new musical directions or concepts or collaboration you're eager to explore?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always down for collaborating. I'd really like to collaborate with non-metal musicians and, create something new. We recently did a collaboration with Little V. He's a multi-instrumentalist and YouTuber. We did a song called Barrel of a Gun, and that was for Cyberpunk, the video game. It didn't actually make it into the game, but, maybe here's to hoping. But so that was cool. He's also an ex-member of Black Pestilence. But I would really like to collaborate probably with, there's a lot of really cool rappers out there, and I'd really like to collaborate with them. As far as new music, I'm always writing. We're still going to keep the black metal, punk rock, noise elements. That's still going to remain the same. But in regards to maybe incorporating a little bit more, I don't know. I kind of want to incorporate a little bit more like hardcore, just because never done that before in the past. So little by little, I'll continue to add more elements without, taking away from the core value.
Oh, that's nice. I would like to hear your hardcore version of Black Pestilence. Do you have any influences or bands in punk or black metal or
that I really like?
Yeah.
I'd say for black metal, I've always liked Marduk. When it comes to punk rock, I like the Casualties. And then when it comes to electronic, I'd say Atari Teenage Riot.
Okay, so you mentioned that you like and you're listening to noise music and mentioned electronic music. I was so much into the noise scene like many years ago, and do you have any special bands that you'd like to recommend?
For noise? Oh,
yeah,
it's been a while, but I would say, not that I really listen to this artist, but they keep popping up on my social media, so I'm going to shout them out, is Torturing Nurse from Japan.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Japanese noise scene is very rich for decades. It's amazing. We're getting at the end of the interview. Would you like to add anything else? Would you like to say something to your listeners and fans?
I'd say thanks for the support, and overall, hopefully we'll make it to a city near you. We're just trying to fill up our bookings for next year, and at this point, we'll probably get another album out next year. So stay tuned. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes.
That's excellent. Thank you. Can't wait for the new one. Thank you so much for today, Alex, and keep on rocking that great Black Pestilence. It's excellent. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for today.
See you.
Bye.